In the heart of the snow-capped Blue Ridge Mountains lived an elderly woman named Ilara. Her cottage, nestled deep within the whispering pines, was a beacon of warmth against the biting winter winds. Ilara, with a heart as vast as the forest she called home, was known for her kindness to all creatures, great and small. But one fateful evening, her compassion would be tested in a way she never could have imagined. A blizzard, fiercer than any she'd seen in her 80 years, raged outside. The wind howled like a mournful wolf, and snow fell in thick, blinding sheets. As Ilara sat by her crackling fireplace, a strange sound pierced through the storm's fury, a faint, desperate whimpering at her door. Her brow furrowed with concern. Who or what could be out in such a storm? Hesitantly, she unlatched the heavy oak door. Peeking out into the swirling maelstrom, her eyes widened in disbelief. Huddled together on her porch, trembling and covered in a layer of snow, were 5 small, furry creatures. They were no bigger than human toddlers, with large, dark eyes that shone with fear and cold. Their fur was a matted brown, and they looked utterly helpless. Ilara gasped. They looked exactly like the Bigfoot creatures from local legends, but in infant form. Every instinct for self-preservation screamed at her to shut the door. Legends of Bigfoot were often terrifying tales whispered around campfires. But looking into their innocent, pleading eyes, Ilara saw not monsters, but lost children. Her grandmotherly heart melted. She couldn't leave them to freeze. With a deep breath, she opened her door wider. "Come on in, little ones," she whispered softly. "You're safe here." Timidly, they shuffled inside, their tiny bodies shivering uncontrollably. Ilara quickly shut the door against the storm and led them toward the warmth of the fire. She grabbed her thickest wool blankets and wrapped each one up, cooing gently as if they were her own grandchildren. They huddled together, their shivering slowly subsiding as the fire's heat seeped into their small frames. But once they were warm, she noticed their gaunt figures. They were starving. Ilara bustled around her kitchen, her mind racing. What does a baby Bigfoot eat? She decided to start simple. She warmed up some milk and poured it into 5 shallow bowls. Placing them on the floor, she watched as the little creatures eagerly lapped it up, their tiny hands clutching the sides of the bowls. As they ate, their initial fear of her seemed to vanish, replaced by a quiet trust. One of them, the smallest of the group, finished its milk and toddled over to Ilara, nuzzling its furry head against her leg in a gesture of gratitude. A tear welled in Ilara's eye. She reached down and stroked its soft fur, a profound connection forming between the old woman and the mythical infant. That night, Ilara made a makeshift bed for them by the hearth, piling up all the spare pillows and blankets she owned. As she watched them drift off to sleep, nestled together in a peaceful, furry pile, she felt a strange sense of purpose. She wasn't just sheltering them from a storm. She was protecting something truly special, something the world wasn't ready to understand. The next morning, the blizzard had passed, leaving behind a world blanketed in pristine white snow. As the first rays of sunlight streamed through the window, Elara woke to a surprising sight. The 5 little creatures were awake, but they weren't just sitting there. They were tidying up. One was carefully stacking the firewood she had dropped. Another was attempting to sweep the floor with a small branch, and a third was gently organizing her yarn basket. She watched, utterly amazed. They were intelligent, gentle, and surprisingly helpful. They communicated with a series of soft chirps and whistles, working together with an efficiency that was fascinating to observe. They spent the day with her, following her around the cottage like a group of furry ducklings. They helped her collect pine cones for the fire and watched with wide-eyed curiosity as she baked bread, the warm aroma filling the small home. Elara found herself laughing more than she had in years. Their playful antics and gentle nature filled the lonely cottage with a joy she had unrealized was missing. They played hide-and-seek among the furniture, their soft giggles echoing through the rooms. She taught them patty cake, and they clapped their oversized hands together with clumsy delight. For a few precious days, Elara's quiet life was transformed into a whirlwind of wonder and happiness. She knew, however, that it couldn't last. They had a family, a mother who was surely frantic with worry. On the 3rd evening, as they sat by the fire, a deep, resonant call echoed from the mountains, a sound that was both powerful and filled with longing. The little ones instantly perked up, their heads turning toward the sound. They chittered back, a chorus of high-pitched replies. It was their mother. A wave of sadness washed over Elara. It was time to say goodbye. She bundled them up again, not against the cold this time, but as a final, loving gesture. She led them to the door, her heart heavy. "Your mother is waiting," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "You must go now." Each one of them came to her, one by one, giving her a final nuzzle, their large, dark eyes conveying a depth of gratitude that words could never express. With one last look back, they scampered out into the moonlit snow, following the call that grew louder and closer. Elara watched from her doorway until their small figures disappeared into the dark tree line. Just as she was about to close the door, she saw a colossal shadow detach itself from the edge of the forest. A massive female Bigfoot stepped into the clearing. She was majestic and awe-inspiring. She looked directly at Elara's cottage, and though she was far away, Elara could feel her gaze. The creature raised a large hand, not in a threat, but in a clear, unmistakable gesture of thanks. Then she turned and vanished back into the woods with her children. Elara closed her door, a peaceful smile on her face. Her home felt quiet again, but it was no longer lonely. It was filled with the memory of an unbelievable encounter. From that day on, every winter Elara would find a carefully arranged pile of rare, sweet mountain berries and intricately woven pine needle baskets left on her porch silent. Enduring thank you from the mysterious family she had once saved from the storm. Thank you so much for watching this incredible story unfold. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more amazing tales. We'd love to hear what you would have done in Ellara's shoes, so leave a comment below. See you in the next video.